Hello and welcome to this Property Rights Australia podcast. Our guest today is Katy McCallum. Katy is the owner and operator of the Kilkivan General Store in Kilkivan, Queensland. She left a career in the Queensland Police Service to become a local shop owner and settle into a country lifestyle with her husband and kids that resembled how she was raised in Gatton in the 1970s and 80s. She now finds herself involved in what she refers to as the fight for our future against the proposed Powerlink Barumba pumped hydro transmission lines that threaten the region that she lives in. Katy believes that the fight is just the tip of the iceberg for landowner rights and the impending precipice we're all being led over in the search for a green-powered economy. Katy is a self-described rational environmentalist and is a proponent for cleaner energy supplies, but not at the cost of prime rural land, which is in limited supply given the small and precious areas of arable land that Australia has. She would like to see more research into energy production via waste-to-energy facilities, concentrating solar towers and individually owned solar power systems on the roof of all homes and businesses. You can help us by joining PRA or providing a contribution to our Fighting Fund. More details in the podcast. Hello everyone and welcome to the Property Rights Australia podcast. Thank you for joining me. My guest today is Katy McCallum. Katy, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Eric. How you going?
I'm not too bad, mate. Look, thank you for joining us today. We're going to have a quick chat around a couple of key issues. And first off, I'd just like to say the purpose of the PRA is to really look at the erosion of our property rights as one of the key issues facing regional communities across Australia. It's not the only issue, but it is one of those issues that hits very much close to home, particularly for someone like yourself. And in that vein, can I ask, what advocacy work are you doing in the Kilkivan region that you can share with us?
So I think this topic became quite prevalent in the community here in December of last year, which was when we started advocating to the entire district about their rights as property owners. When we found out that Powerlink was intending on sticking high voltage lines that would run the electricity from the proposed Barumba hydro plant across to the Waluga substation. Up until that point, everybody out here has pretty much lived nice, quiet lives, growing their cows, sending them to market, growing their market gardens, selling the veggies at the markets on the weekend. And it was a very big wake-up call 2 weeks before Christmas of December 2022, when one person out here received a letter from Powerlink to say that there was a 4-kilometre corridor study plan that ran straight through the guts of all of our prime rural land, straight behind the township of Kilkivan, straight up across an area which we refer to as Rossmore, and then all the way up to the Waluga substation. And it really hit home, and we just realised that we had to start working very quickly to bring attention about this matter to the whole district. So we quickly formed a group called the Kilkivan Action Group, and we called a town meeting, and that was probably the most people I've ever seen, excuse me, the most people I've ever seen in the local hall. It was so thrilling, and it was such a buzz to see everybody there. Everybody was really worried. They're really worried about what's going to happen. And we started that momentum right there and then, and we've been carrying that same level of momentum right through until now in our fight to ensure that the power lines don't come this way. But in doing that, we also have now linked up with the Widgie Action Group and the Mary Valley or the Mary River Action Group, who are facing the same prospect as we are, which has made us even stronger with our voice. And I think because we raised this subject and we started Facebook pages and we started having meetings, Property Rights Australia became aware of what was happening here. And they had a meeting with the Kilkivan and the Widgie representatives, and we formed a relationship with them, which has been a very good one since we formed it. Yeah.
From another perspective, there's two ways in which I think people can get involved, whether you're in rural and regional Queensland or if you're in the cities and you think that this isn't acceptable for someone to build power infrastructure over privately owned land when there are other options, including building these things on state-owned land so that you're
Correct.
not impacting those living in rural and regional communities for the long-term benefit of those in the cities. You can join the PRA, or you can help us by making a contribution to our fighting fund.
Yes, absolutely. That was one of the big things we raised at the rally, which was held in Widgie a fortnight ago. We had a great turnout for that. And we had Colin Boyce, federal MP for Flynn. We had Senator Malcolm Roberts from the One Nation Party attend that rally. And we really pushed the point to everybody there that an organisation such as Property Rights Australia has the ability to support us as groups and as individuals with our property rights. And if we can get people to join the group, to make donations to the Fighting Fund, this could be the core that we could all work off to help fight what we're all fighting at the moment, because this isn't going to go away in a hurry. And the whole narrative for green energy, I mean, we could talk about that as well. That's a whole other issue. We're not against green power, but we're against the loss of prime rural land to put the green power in. So we need to fight this with our rights as property owners. And to do that, we're going to need legal advice. We're going to need an organisation who has had fights like this in the past, who has experience, who've networked already and have got connections that may be able to help us. And look, anything these days that you need help with at some point is going to need some sort of a political leaning or a political supporter at some level of government to help you out. And Property Rights Australia can do that for us, and it can do it for anybody, anywhere in rural, regional, even on the fringe urban areas of Australia. And that's why we're happy to say with our action group that we support the concept that people should join Property Rights Australia or make donations, because it's already been made very clear to me that the money that's in the Fighting Fund can be used and will be used. They've already told us that there's funds there ready to go to help with the next stage, which is going to be a pocketbook guide or a glove box guide that we want to write for people to tell them where their rights are. And that's the reality of where the money can go in the fight. Because if we can empower every single individual property owner so that they know their rights, so that they realise that they don't have to allow some people in, government or government sub-agency uniforms who are standing at their gate, they don't have to allow them in. That's the start of our fight right there. That's the very foundations. And so to spread those words, we need funds. You need funds to do anything these days. And certainly Property Rights Australia is the place where we can start that.